Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Live It Up, the show where we explore and discuss how to take your life to that next level and beyond. We cover health, wealth, relationships, and how to create a life that feels good. Because after all, that's what we want. We want to feel good. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher. Today on our show, our guest is Roni Freund, the Executive Director of the Cascade Loop. What is the Cascade Loop, you ask? Well, it's only the best road trip in Washington State, made up of all sorts of cool scenic byways, but maybe it's flown below your personal radar. We're going to change that today and tell you all about it because it may just be your next family road trip. But before we get to that, I do want to remind you that if you have questions you'd like me to answer on or off the air, you can email those directly to me at fletcher@fletcherellingson.com. And if we use your question on the show, I'm going to send you a copy of my best-selling Amazon book called The Practice of Feeling Good. If you've been following the show and you want to learn more about personal development, how to take on your life more powerfully, then grab a copy of this book. You can also visit me at my website, fletcherellingson.com. Now, before we get to the interview, I have a question for you. I want to ask you, how many times have you told yourself, I'm not ready yet? Or maybe you've said, I'll do it when I'm ready, when the timing is right, when you have more money, when you've learned more or have more knowledge or have more experience, or when you feel more confident. Look, we all play this game. We wait to feel ready before making the move, before having the conversation, before applying for the job or changing that habit or investing in ourselves, or finally just going after what we say we really want. But here's the truth. If you're waiting to be ready, it's putting you behind. Why? Because ready isn't a destination, it's a feeling, and feelings are fleeting. What we're usually waiting for is certainty, the feeling that guarantees a successful outcome before we take the risk. And yet, that's never how progress works. Readiness rarely shows up fully formed. Confidence doesn't come before the action, it's the result of having taken action. So when you look closely, what you're really saying when you delay is, I don't trust myself yet. I don't trust that I'll figure it out. I don't trust that I'll be okay if it doesn't go perfectly. But here's the shift that can change everything. You don't need to know exactly how things will unfold. You just need to know that you will keep showing up no matter how they do unfold. That is your certainty. You keep on showing up for your life no matter what happens. You see, you've been doing that your entire life, and you always get through whatever situation is before you. So I invite you to reflect on that. Oh, but Fletcher, I've had so many failures. Well, so have I. I've been broke, I've been divorced, I've been injured, I've been unemployed, I've been cheated, I've been outcast. But I've gotten through it all. And two things I know for certain: change is constant, and I get through it. So I invite you to consider that you too are resourceful, capable, and flexible. Whatever shows up on the other side of your action, success, failure, rejection, growth, you have what it takes to handle it, learn from it, and move forward more powerfully. So I want to invite you into a new practice. A practice of taking action before you're ready and trusting that you'll be ready when it counts. So apply for the opportunity. Have that tough conversation. Invest in the thing that calls to you. Say yes to the version of you that you want to become, even if your knees are shaking. Because every time you take aligned action before you feel ready, you're building something better than certainty. You're building momentum. You're building self-trust. You're building a life that's not built on waiting, but on creating. And that's where the real magic is. So let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. I believe in you, and I know that you can do this. All right, we're going to take a quick break, but stay with us because we'll be right back with Roni Freund from the Cascade Loop. Hey everybody, welcome back to Live It Up. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're in this conversation. Today on the show, we've got Roni Freund. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi, thanks for being on the show today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, we're talking about the Cascade Loop. I passed one of the signs on my way down to Wenatchee today. But before we get to what the Cascade Loop is, we always like to start out with what's going well in life, because there's enough going on in life that's not going well, and we're practiced at focusing on that. So we like to practice on what are some feel-good things. So what's something that's going well in your life?
The most exciting thing in my life is I now have 2 grandsons.
Nice.
7 months apart. The oldest is 9 months old.
All right.
So spending time with them has been miraculous.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
We weren't sure how long it was going to take.
And are these your first
Local.
grandchildren?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
And they're both local, so we see them, very regularly.
I really can appreciate that, because I'm a new grandpa, and my granddaughter Sunny is 10 months old. So similar in age, and having that similar experience where it's just so much fun and delight.
And I got to work or babysit regularly with Lucas the first, so watching the growth into a person.
Yeah.
I mean, 9 months old, but still the growth and the personality.
Oh my gosh, isn't it so fun to watch that occur?
Yes.
All that brain development.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the wheels spinning. I always said you can see the wheels are spinning. He's looking at that and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah,
it's
real
cool.
treat.
Yep.
Well, that's great. So let's dive into what we're talking about today, which is the Cascade Loop.
Yes.
And I imagine a lot of people have heard about it and maybe even seen some of the signs, but they may not know what it is. I didn't know a lot about it until I met you.
Yeah.
Right? So give us the lowdown. What is the Cascade Loop?
It is now a nationally designated scenic byway. We were nationally designated in 2021. That was a really long process. Had to go through a bunch of paperwork with creating a corridor management plan, and then the federal government in 2012, I think it was, stopped doing it. So then we had to wait a long time and finally got it, the designation in 2021. So that was exciting, right after COVID, right when things were starting to get busy again. So that was good. But it's 440 miles. It goes through actually 9 counties. A couple of the counties, just a little sliver of it, but we have it kind of broken into regions, kind of geographically. It starts at the ocean in what we call Seattle North Country, because that's what that portion of Snohomish County calls themselves, branded. And then goes across Highway 2 through the Stevens Pass Greenway, which is also a byway, down into Leavenworth, through Wenatchee, up to Lake Chelan, through the Methow Valley, over the North Cascades Highway, which is also a byway, scenic byway, and then through the Skagit Valley and over to Whidbey Island, which is Whidbey Scenic Isleway designated scenic byway, and across the ferry to Mukilteo, and then kind of that's where we say it starts, just because that's a good geographic start and end point. So.
And you said it's about 440 miles?
440 miles is the main footprint, yeah.
And it's such a cool concept, especially because you have to go over all the mountain passes. I mean, you're going to see the wet side of Washington, the dry side, and everything in between, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really
neat. And that's what is probably the most. It's the diversity is what makes it such a unique destination, because you can see, you start at the ocean, you can play on the beach, and then the next day, you can go skiing. Or later that day you could go skiing, and then go over the mountains and go into the desert area. So the part of the state that it covers is just about every part you could ask for all in one trip.
And that road, the road really goes through some of the most gorgeous country in our state. You go up through the Mazama and Twisp and all that. I mean, and Chelan and Manson, right? I mean, it's just it's absolutely stunning.
And the North Cascades, being the North Cascades is a national park, and it is one of the few national parks that there's not a gateway that you pay to enter.
I didn't realize
Yellowstone, you go through the gateway, you pay to enter. Mount Rainier, same thing. But North Cascades National Park doesn't work that way.
That's neat.
So so it's a unknown that that you can just drive through it.
And have you driven the entire thing?
Yeah. I've done it in a day.
Yeah? Oh, that's a lot of driving.
Woke up real early, did the whole way around. Actually ended up going on the ferry too to San Juan Islands and back all in one day. It was before my daughter had to go back to school. I can't even remember what age she was. And so she said, let's go do the loop. So we did the whole loop in one day. And it's crazy to think now that she's actually one of the folks that helps with the loop. She did the design of the travel guide the last couple of years, and she's helping with some other stuff. So
right on. And how long has it been? Like, how long has the Cascade Loop been occurring?
So North Cross State Highway was completed in 1972. So that's what we now call North Cascades Highway. Most people that have been around that long remember it as North Cross State Highway was what it was called. And that got completed in 1972. And then later in the 70s, a bunch of businessmen from around here, one name you might recognize, Gordon Omi, was one of the originals.
Omi Gardens.
Omi Gardens. They laid a map out. They were at the Chieftain Inn in the Powwow Room on Wenatchee Avenue, presumably having cocktails and prime rib. And they said, check out this route. You start north of Seattle, go across Highway 2, up across through the meadow, over this new pass. We need to let people know that there's this great opportunity to come, largely to get people from that Seattle area, metropolis area, to travel to this side of the mountains to see what it looked like. Because in the 70s, that was it was lesser known, a lot lesser known. Leavenworth was a lot lesser known. Lake Chelan was a lot lesser known.
Yeah, this side of the mountains was much lesser known.
Much lesser known.
Yeah.
To this day, people still think of Seattle, if they're not from around here, they think of Washington State as it rains and there's a space needle and there's killer whales, and that's what comes to everyone's mind.
Yes.
So they don't realize that there's an entirely different.
I went all the way through high school, and it was the summer of my senior year that I took a trip over to Eastern Washington, and I was like, hold on a second, what is this?
Exactly.
And why haven't I known about it? Because I love it. Right. That I remember just getting out of the car and that warm air, like just hugging you. It felt so good.
Yeah, my younger years were over on that side too, and I remember my aunt and uncle and my grandparents had a orchard in Cashmere. So in the summer, well, all year long, but especially in the summer, we would get in the car to come over this way, and I would always remember up by the Nason Creek rest area, coming over Highway 2. Right about that was when we'd all put down the windows.
Yeah. And
then the air changed, the smell changed. It smells like pine needles, and it's warm, and you can see the sun, and you just drove out of the rain from the other side, and that's always the spot. To this day, that spot still makes me think of rolling down the windows and seeing.
It's pretty special.
Yeah.
Right. So how long have you been involved with the Cascade Loop?
I had to go back and Google when did email become a thing, because I remember the first project that I got hired to help them with was doing data entry of names of people who had requested the travel guide and put it into a database, and then I had to try to figure out how to email that to someone.
Yeah.
And email was new enough that we were struggling to figure out exactly how that was supposed to work. So mid-90s-ish.
Right. Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I was about to say early to mid-90s.
Yeah.
So you've been involved this entire time.
I've worked with 6 executive directors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just has always, it started out doing little projects like that, proofreading the travel guide. Then I started creating the travel guide, and the executive director would ask me if I could help with this project on the website, or just so over the years it kind of grew into more and more just project work. And my background was really in printing. And when I moved over here, I got a job at the print shop, commercial printing, and worked there for a long time. And then started picking up these small jobs here and there, and then got to the point where I couldn't continue to do all of the small jobs and work there. So about that time was when my daughter was born, and it made sense to be able to stay home with her and work from home. And the internet
Yeah.
was there, so now I could actually do the same thing that I used to do.
Yeah, you were ahead of the curve. You were remote working before it was a thing.
Exactly. I would go to the print shop and grab projects and the work that needed to be done, and I'd go home and I'd work on it and email it back or take it back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was definitely remote working before it was really a thing.
For
sure.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and learn more about the Cascade Loop, because it may be your next road trip. Stay with us. Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We're talking with Roni Freund from the Cascade Loop. And if you haven't heard about the Cascade Loop, we invite you to check it out because it's pretty spectacular. And Americans love a good road trip. Like that's in our blood, right?
Yeah,
let's road trip, right? Turn on the tunes, pack the kids in the car. What makes the Cascade Loop such a great road trip?
There is so many different kinds of things to see.
Yeah. Tell me.
One of the most difficult questions that I get when someone goes to the website and requests our travel guide is, what is there to do there? It's like, it's great because it opens up a conversation with them, but it's like, what do you like to do? Do you like to get out of the car very far? Do you just, I'll have long conversations sometimes, usually through email, but with someone who says, it's my wife and I are traveling, she's been ill, she can't really get very far away from the car, so we've got a lot of different places you can go up to the Diablo Lake overlook, and you don't have to get very far from the car to be able to see incredible scenery. We want to go hiking, we want to get, we're backpackers, we want to get way up high up into the mountains, so whatever anybody wants. We like waterfalls. Okay, come in the spring. That's when the waterfalls are best, or spring and summer. We want to play on the water. There's water. The loop follows water all the way around the loop. There's a river, there's lakes, all the way around the loop.
Yeah, plenty of water.
So, it all depends on what everybody's interested in. But there is such a wide diversity of things to see, of the scenery itself. And the designation, the National Scenic Byway designation is scenic. That's why we were granted the designation.
I love that. Yeah,
because of the scenery.
Yeah. It's going to, no matter where you're going, there's going to be beautiful and stunning scenery.
Yep.
Yeah, and diverse.
And something that a lot of people, especially people that don't live near this part of the state even, don't always realize that mountain, the mountainous, the desert. I just traveled to South Carolina back in May, and coming back home, you miss the mountains. You don't realize necessarily when you're out and doing stuff.
Yeah.
But when you come back, you realize I've not been seeing mountains, and that's just something that when you're not from around here, or from your people who visit from parts of the country that don't have mountains. It's a thing.
Yes.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And the ferries. Getting to ride a ferry. There's a lot of people that say, we've never been on a ferry.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to the ferry ride.
Drive right onto it.
We do it all the time. It's old hat. It's, oh no, we got to wait for the next one. For a lot of people, this is like part of the whole adventure is these little things that some of us who've lived here for most of our lives
and the Cascade Loop highway, that attracts a lot of people from different states as well, right?
The folks that request our travel guide, about half of them are mailed to residents in Washington, and the other half are mailed to somebody that doesn't live in Washington.
So it's got wide appeal. And if you like wine tasting, oh my gosh, we got plenty of that over here, right? You can play on the water, abundant camping opportunities.
Camping, hiking, and hiking, climbing hiking or paths. Apple Capitol Loop Trail, path, family-friendly, strollers, wheelchairs, There's a lot of opportunities all on both sides of the mountains.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, very family-friendly. I mean, this is super family-friendly for opportunities. And like you said, you don't have to get far from your car if you don't want to, or you can take an excursion, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really fun.
And another thing.
Yes.
I just remembered. There's a Pacific Crest Trail, a lot of people have heard of, that goes up and down the Cascades. There's also a Pacific Northwest Trail that comes from Montana and goes all the way out to Nia Bay, I want to say, or even all the way out to the ocean. They intersect on along the Cascade Loop.
Yeah. So. And what about Dry Falls? Does it go by Dry Falls?
No, that's out toward like Grand Coulee Dam, isn't it?
Yes, yes, yeah.
That's in Okanagan County,
Got it.
and Okanagan County is, the Medhow Valley is part of Okanagan County, and so we do get, that'll be part of our next question, some funding from the counties, and so we do share stories about other places.
Got it,
We
yeah.
call them side loops.
Side loops, yeah. Because
So-
that one's definitely worth seeing. If you,
yes,
if,
and
if
Grand-
you haven't
yeah.
seen Dry Falls, check
Yeah.
out Dry Falls. So let's skip to funding, because this requires a large machine of PR and printing brochures and mailing brochures, right? So how is this funded?
It's about half memberships and grant funding. So each of the counties, I apply for their lodging tax help, essentially,
Yes.
for the portions of the guide that represent their counties.
Yeah, because
That's how
the
we kind of
Loop's
break it out.
ultimately advertising for their county,
Exactly,
right? Driving
exactly.
traffic, literally driving traffic.
Driving traffic. Ooh, I like driving
to
traffic.
their counties.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we do, but in order to be represented, we have membership levels or memberships, and that means that they can be represented in the printed travel guide, which is also downloadable now, and on the website, and in the other efforts that we do on social media and through PR and itinerary building and all those kinds of things. So.
And I also want to say this is such a great option. Hey, look, if money's tight in your family, you can't fly to Disneyland or Mexico or whatever. This Cascade Loop is a really great option because it's accessible, it's going to work for your budget, and you can take your time, right? There's no rush, there's no big lines. And tell us how to get a copy of this brochure.
www.cascadeloop.com.
www.cascadeloop.com. And you said they can fill out a form
to request it, and we'll mail it to any address in the country. We send a lot to overseas. Germany and UK are real popular.
That's so wild. That's so cool.
Yeah. Postage has gotten kind of crazy
yeah.
in the last 4 years.
Yes,
but
it has.
we still, that's our goal.
Especially if you're sending it to Germany, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the nice thing about having it downloadable too, is when I get a request that's from out of the country, I'll verify how to do their address, because it's different than ours, and I don't want them coming back because I put the wrong thing in the wrong order. So I ask them to verify how I should address it, and I remind them that it's available online. So a lot of times they'll just come back, oh, I didn't know that. So we'll just look at it online. And
now clarify for me, is it for downloading this onto your phone, is there a QR code that they scan, or is
it the same place that you go to request it, you can just go click the button to just download it, or view it online on a flipping book. We have the flipping book thing.
Oh, you got a flip book. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Cool.
either way, you can download a PDF to look at, and when you do that, you can actually click straight to any of the links for any of our members or the advertising or any of the information. And there's QR codes and direct links back to where you can find more information on the website as well.
Excellent. And then if you get this, you're going to have all the lodging and all that good stuff too in there. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of people who do the loop don't do the whole loop.
Sure, they just
in
do
one
a
trip.
Just do a little leg of it.
They'll do a section of it.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll stay with friends, and maybe they'll go camping in one place, and they'll just do the parts of it that they can get to easily and be able to spend a lot of time, because that's one of the things that I do fear with people who say, we've got 3 days, what should we do? It's like, oh man, only 3 days? That's when you really got to say, well, so what's important to you? What is the things that you really want to do, or what are your interests, so that we can make sure that we're recommending the stuff that makes the most sense for you. But the most fun about it is just getting out and seeing what there is to see without really knowing what's there, because that's sometimes when you find the tidbits that no one else knows about.
So get out there, explore. We got to run.
Okay.
Roni, thanks for all the work you're doing at the Cascade Loop and for helping promote it on this show. And now it's time for you to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.